Welcome back to Interpack and our glass studio in between halls 7 and 9. I am joined now to talk about recycling and I'm guessing circularity as well. I am joined by Cirplus and Dr. Christoph Hoffmann. Welcome and thank you for being here today with me.
Hello and thank you for the invitation and being here. First I want to make a little correction because it's written here that Christian Schiller, our CEO, will sit here on my place, so I'm here for him and talking about the surplus and the circularity of recycling material.
Exactly. You are lead of business development at Cirplus, and is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So in the packaging industry, I'm a circular economy expert, I can say. I worked for 20 years in packaging, 10 years with SIG Combi Blocker, carton packaging, laminated carton, and also Alpla, that is rigid plastic packaging. And now I'm with Cirplus and very happy to try to really help a startup here to transform into circularity in the plastic packaging industry, and coming back later a little bit what Cirplus is exactly doing and how I see the circularity and business models, especially with recycling materials.
So you have insight on both of these packaging materials, fiber-based packaging and as well plastics.
Exactly. In my former time, I was also in a company that used recycling material and would be a customer for the platform and is also a recycler itself. So supplying demand for the demand also as a supplier. I think I know both sides quite good. Yeah.
That's always good to have an impression of the whole picture. You've also told me that you have been here at Interpack before. Obviously, there's been a 6-year break now, so how does it feel to be back?
Yeah, it's always nice. Of course, Interpark is one of the largest and most important packaging fairs, at least in the Europe or German-speaking part, but international, and it's good and very interesting. As always, a lot of companies and a lot of interesting talks here.
So you've already been able to network and have some interesting talks?
Of course, with the focus on Cirplus and the recycling material platform and its procurement services that we offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us a bit more about that. What does Cirplus actually do? And how do you come into that?
Yeah, so we have two main pillars. One is really the platform for recycling material, so recycling plastics material. We are focusing here on plastics, and this is bringing the supply, so the recycler side, but also the waste for recycling, so the input for the recyclers. And on the other side, the demand for recycled material, plastics, to bring this together on the platform, to get information exchange, to get transparency, and in the end to also balance the short market of recycling materials. And this is a speciality, and all companies are claiming a lot of recycling content in the future, supported also by new legislations from the European Union and to be implemented in the States in the European Union. And here we will hopefully grow and get more and more recycling material in the products, not only for, let's say, more easy material like PET or also HDPE, but also going into different applications and with even other materials also. And bringing this together is the main focus of this electronic platform. And the second part I mentioned is the procurement services overall. So we really offering one supplier selection. We want to offer the testing services, so connect the customers with the testing and companies and help them to get their procurement process managed in a good way with focus on recycling plastic material. Yeah.
So this seems to be exactly the moment for your company and also for such a platform. We hear all the time that companies are looking to use more recyclates, but that the demand is sometimes bigger than the amount of material that is there. So have you noticed a change in the industry when looking at topics like recycling and recyclates over the last years?
Yes, this I can also say from my former times. There's a big change on one hand, but on the other hand, we still see the price difference between virgin material and recycling materials. Nowadays, it would be now in details which material, which price difference has, but in general, there is a price difference between the recycled and the virgin material, and here we want to help also to get this in a better balance, let's say, and to even more focus on the content of recycling material. And if I review the market, I have a little bit the feeling that even, at least a bit stagnating, the recycling.
Okay.
I think we need a further push now to go one really the steps ahead also. Yeah.
What do you think could give this push? Is something like the new regulations that the European Commission is proposing, is that like a push into the right direction, or where do you think that push could come from?
I believe it's a help, but it's a support. The industry itself should move for better circularity in the world. We don't want the material in the nature. It should be used. It's valuable. It's not garbage or something. It's a valuable material, and like in other industries, we should reuse it again and in a first run in the application that they originally went in. So here also we can support with this Cirplus startup. Mm-hmm. And I also want to push really new, smaller companies in the area of packaging and circularity. And the company, maybe some words about Cirplus itself, was founded by the Christian Schiller, the CEO now, and Volker Bilic. He was a technical guy more, and we have now more than 2,000 users on the platform and around 1.6 million tons of material offered. And now we want to develop these extra services that I mentioned already, and let's see. And I hope I could have interesting talks here on the Interpack and go further with some more getting traction on our platform. That's an important step now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your customers? Is it very big companies that are part of your, can you say network, or who is your audience that you are targeting right now?
Yeah, it's different. On one hand, it's of course the brand owners, the big names, but often they have own procurement departments responsible for recycling. Depends a little bit, but we're talking to the big ones. I'm not going to name them here, but the ones everyone knows, but also the converters. So the production for the brand owners is done by converters, and here we, of course, get in contact with them. So that's the one part, and the other part, of course, we need to talk to the supply side also, and there we need to talk to the recyclers and to the waste management companies also, because they are supply again the input for the recyclers. And it's a development, but I believe we will also have medium and smaller sized companies that are interested, because they are not normally having this purchasing power to build up their own structures and processes. And here it's the goal overall is to help the companies in their procurement with a focus on recycling plastics and offer services around and lower process costs and getting transparency in the market.
So it's, you're covering kind of the entire life cycle or supply chain there. How important is a fair like Interpack where all of these different stations along the supply chain and companies are present potentially?
It's an important part, yes, and we have possible customers as well as also some from the other value chain in the industry. On the other hand, we are focusing on recycling, and we will be present now the next 2 days. I have to say this also in Amsterdam on the PRSE, that is plastic recycling show Europe, that is focusing here also on the recycling part. So there we have a booth and will be present, and of course everyone is welcome to travel from here to Amsterdam and visit us.
It's not too far. The Netherlands are quite close.
It's a very filled week, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Looking at recycling and packaging, can you tell us a bit more about economic and sustainable solutions when looking at sustainable packaging and recycling?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that is a little bit difficulties. We know it from applications like PET bottle, where it's already very common to have a high content of recycled material inside. But depending very much on the material and on the application, that is more challenging, can be more challenging. And here we really want to help to offer other materials in other applications. I talked now to a lot of people, and one first question is how do you have mechanical recycling material for the food industry, and that's a lot of discussions. How can we improve, or is it allowed? There are no official standards or something, and that was a different second topic that Cirplus really developed the DIN spec for Recyclates, and is now it's still a spec. It's the number I have to read. It's 91,446, and it's now implemented. Was also financed by us and is now discussed on European level. We won, or the DIN spec itself won some prizes, and is here really the first one on about the recycled plastics and the data quality. So, as you know, it's always very difficult to get the exactly specifications of the material, and that is also the challenge where we as Cirplus will help the customers to overcome these challenges about the complexity of sourcing of recycling materials. Mm-hmm. And coming back to your direct question here, it's really talking about other applications. I talked to had a case study about big bags where they have recycling content, and also here the goal is to close the loop first into big bag and later into other applications also. So there are a lot of fields and application to discuss in the future, and we want to be a part here.
Wonderful. Maybe looking at recycling ways to recycle. You've already mentioned mechanical recycling. Also, obviously, there's also chemical recycling. Can you tell us about the status quo there, or what is changing with regard to that? What is
changing? Oh, I have to. Yeah, I don't know if I'm here the real expert, but I can give my view, of course, on that. Yes, I think it's an important pillar for the future. I mentioned the food grade discussion, and there it can help, but also we have to look in the details. We have to really look into the CO2 discussions and so on. I think there will be a lot of development, a lot of big names, and they have, let's say, smaller size or medium-sized production in place, and more to come, or also large scales. We want to watch it. For me, it's also not. We could imagine also to have this on the platform for recycling material. Mm-hmm. But from my point of view, the first step should be mechanical as much as possible. And then we have a lot of other waste. We have to develop technologies where we really can also transform big parts of the other streams into new material and bring this in the products. And parallel, it will solve also application fields where we, with mechanicals, maybe have some problems today. It's an important part, but we should now also not forget the mechanical and say chemical will be the solution for everything. I don't believe that.
It would be nice to have both solutions, probably not go hand in hand, but to like work parallel and have the options, right?
Even also hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Maybe one last question, also coming back to your company, Cirplus. Yeah. Tell me, what do you think is the role or importance of platforms like yours and also of digitalization in this context?
Yeah, in my very former times, I also was working for university and working on electronic platforms for business, electronic marketplaces. And I believe strongly, whatever field you look in, it will be the development. In other industries, it happened already. And to combine these possibilities with electronic platforms, transparency, information exchange, of course, you can bring the demand, supply in a better way, faster, international together. We have now the users I mentioned, 2,000 users, are from 100 countries. So here you can really see that we Hamburg-based, but that really is not the focus. We have all over the world recyclers offering material. And this you can, there the electronic way is a ideal platform to support this business. And bringing this together, we need the knowledge of recycling, but also the knowledge on the platform development. And here I'm convinced that Cirplus will be a really important step in that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Circularity and also digital technologies are two of the hot topics of this year's Interpack, so you are ticking both of these boxes.
Yeah, that's good, I believe.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us.
Thank you for that I could be here, and I invite everybody to contact Cirplus and get more and more detailed information. Thank you so much.
You definitely should. Thank you.